Welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're doing something a little different. We're not just looking at Pete Docter's brilliant 2015 animated film, Inside Out, as a fun piece of entertainment. We're actually treating it as a profound psychological case study. We're going to explore the thoughts and emotions living right inside the mind of an 11-year-old girl named Riley. By mapping out exactly how this movie visualizes the mind, we can learn a tremendous amount about ourselves.
So, what if the emotions inside your head were actually pulling the strings? That's the core premise of our explainer today. The film takes the super abstract concept and literally personifies our emotions, turning them into living, breathing characters. And by doing this, it shows us exactly how these emotions influence Riley's decisions, how they color her memories, and how they ultimately shape her entire personality. All right, let's dive into this and see exactly who's running the show up there.
Section 1. Meet the 5 emotions, the control center.
Okay, before we get into the really complex mechanics of Riley's journey, we need to meet the central crew operating the controls in her mind. We've got joy, sadness, anger, fear, and disgust. Now, each of these emotions has a highly specific role in Riley's daily life. Joy? Well, she's the driver of positivity. She's constantly trying to keep Riley happy and firmly believes that positive experiences are, the absolute most important thing. Then we have sadness, who unfortunately often feels like she just causes problems and acts as a bit of a burden. Rounding out the whole crew are anger, fear, and disgust. Their primary function is highly reactive. They basically step up to the control panel to help Riley react to difficult or potentially dangerous situations in her environment.
Section 2. Creating core memories, building identity.
To really understand the mechanics of Riley's mind, we have to look at how everyday memories are processed. Back in Riley's early years in Minnesota, she had this wonderful childhood, playing hockey, spending quality time with her parents, and just having fun with her friends. In her mind, these everyday memories are stored visually as glowing, colored balls. The critical detail here is that each color is directly connected to one of those specific emotions we just met. This visual color coding tells us immediately which emotion totally dominated that particular experience.
But, as you might guess, not all memories are created equal, and this brilliantly illustrates the concept of core memories. According to the source material, certain highly important memories are elevated to this core status. These aren't just things Riley remembers, right? They are the foundational building blocks that help create different parts of her actual personality. Her deep love of family, her strong bonds of friendship, her absolute passion for hockey. These are all rooted directly in these powerful, glowing core memories.
Section 3. The San Francisco Crisis, a life uprooted.
So Riley's perfectly balanced life abruptly shatters when her family moves from Minnesota all the way to San Francisco. Leaving her familiar surroundings and her friends behind is this massive external disruption, and it triggers an equally massive internal crisis, leading directly to severe emotional difficulties for Riley. The crucial point here is that environmental upheaval is throwing her completely out of balance. We're seeing a real-world psychological concept play out right in front of us. Sudden changes in our environment can severely impact our baseline emotional regulation.
Section 4. Lost in the Mind, Joy and Sadness.
Now, during this incredibly tough transition, Joy steps in and tries to forcefully keep Riley happy. It's a classic example of emotional suppression. And spoiler alert, it completely backfires. A sudden accident in the control center causes both joy and sadness to become entirely lost in another part of Riley's mind. Talk about a psychological disaster for an 11-year-old. Without joy and sadness present at the control panel, Riley completely struggles to understand what's happening to her, and she basically loses the ability to properly express her feelings.
This accident forces joy and sadness on a wild trek through the complex landscapes of Riley's mind. First, they have to navigate the massive labyrinth of long-term memory. Then, they make their way through the abstract territory of imagination land, before literally trying to catch the train of thought. It's just a fascinating visual representation of how completely disparate parts of our cognition are connected when we're trying to process trauma and stress.
Section 5. Why all emotions matter, the true purpose.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is we see a stark contrast in emotional philosophy. Joy initially operated on the strict assumption that positive experiences are literally all that matter, and that sadness is just a useless emotion. But during their journey, she has a massive realization. Joy learns that sadness actually serves a vital, functional purpose. Sadness is exactly what helps Riley communicate her pain. When Riley exhibits sadness, it acts as a signal, it allows other people to understand her distress and step in to actually comfort her.
Eventually, joy and sadness manage to restore balance. And the result? Riley finally tells her parents that she's unhappy and deeply misses her old life. Because she stops forcefully hiding behind this fake joy and actually accepts and expresses her sadness, her parents are able to understand her. She finally received the comfort and support she so desperately needs from her family to navigate this incredibly difficult life transition.
Which brings us to the most powerful takeaway of the entire story. Happiness is valuable, but sadness, fear, anger, and disgust also help people grow. The ultimate lesson here is that experiencing all of our emotions is a natural, healthy, and absolutely necessary part of understanding ourselves. We cannot grow if we're only experiencing joy. The difficult emotions, the ones we so often try to suppress, are precisely the ones that facilitate deep personal growth and true connection with others.
I want to leave you with this final thought to reflect on today. How might accepting your difficult feelings make you emotionally stronger? Inside Out teaches us that true mental well-being isn't about just being happy all the time. Actually, scratch that. It's about acknowledging the full spectrum of our feelings. By accepting our sadness, our fears, our anger, and our disgust, we equip ourselves to handle whatever challenges life throws our way. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope this structured look at the mind gives you a brand new perspective on your own emotions. Take care and keep learning.